Not your average tabletop. Woohoo!
Hey everyone, welcome back to Not Your Average Tabletop. I'm Mac.
And I'm Zach.
And today we're going to be doing our first C video. There are very many C's in our collection, and so we decided we'd probably split that out into a couple of videos. If you guys have been following along, we are doing an alphabet soup challenge this year where we are playing through our collection from A to Z within the year, and we are currently in the C's.
Yeah, so if you like you said, if you've been following along, A and B were about 11 to 13 games, which I think is still above our average letter. But then C is our most, I don't know, what would you call it? Our biggest letter of games with about 30 some different games. So it's about 2 to 3 times more than the next highest letter. So we thought we would split it into two. There's not really any reasoning as to how we split the games, but
and so we're just going to go through them and tell you kind of maybe just a short summary. There's a lot of them and there's a lot to get through, so we'll try and keep it short, and then we will let you know whether or not this game will be staying in our collection, so we'll be keeping it, or if it's going to go bye-bye and be culled. Which we have culled, I think 2 or 3 games already from the A and B section. So
you might want to go check those out, see which games to not get. Well,
yes.
I don't know if they're not to get, but
yeah, they're just no longer needed in our collection.
Right.
So the first C game that we have is
Cthulhu Death May Die. So this one is a new one this year, and I played it with Jesse. You have not played it yet. I don't know. I would say this probably doesn't get you excited to play it, or there's not much about the setting or whatever that gets you excited, and it's also cooperative. And I think I've kind of said it in some videos, I've kind of come around to some more cooperative games. Still don't know if you have completely yet, but maybe, hopefully you'll get to play it sometime. It's a pretty good one. It's a lot different than, because it's also one originally when Jesse had gotten it that I was like, I'm not really into the Cthulhu setting either. So I was kind of like, ooh boy. In my mind, I was seeing like, I'm totally blanking on it, Kingdom Death Monster or whatever, which is kind of I don't know, a grosser type game. But yeah, I ended up really enjoying it. It's not Euro-y, it's just a dice roller, dice chucker that you're trying to kill some baddies and save the day. And that one is definitely staying in the collection. It's let me see, I don't want to for sure yet, but out of this half of the C games, it might actually be my favorite C game.
Okay.
Out of this half.
All right.
So I've really enjoyed it, even though I think I've played it 2 or 3 times now, so it's pretty good actually. And here's another one that is a new one this year.
Yep.
You have played this one.
That will be done. Yes, I have played this one time. How many times have you played it? Twice?
I've now played it, twice.
Once with me, once with Jesse?
Yeah, I'm trying to think if I might have played it 3 times. 2 or 3 times. So yeah, it's one that was on my wish list, and it's kind of been there for quite some time.
I really liked it. I thought it was really cool, which I don't get to say very often about some of these new games Zach's been bringing in lately. But it's actually pretty light, all things considered, in comparison to some of the other games I've played. But I really thought it was cool. There's this rondelle action piece that you do, and there's also a board that you're spreading out upon. So I enjoyed my one play of this, and I'm looking forward to playing it some more.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those maybe next level games after like Carcassonne and Catan and Ticket to Ride. It's kind of right there. It's not really too much heavier than that, but you still get to make some interesting decisions.
And this is by Tasty Minstrel Games. And
so
are there going to be any more copies of this coming out?
I'm not exactly sure. And I think this is it's one of the collector, I don't remember what the edition's really called, if it's collector edition or whatever, but I don't know how hard this one is to get, and I'm not sure if I don't think they'll continue to print it, but I'm not sure if another company will pick this one up. Because I know there was like an expansion made, but I don't know that it was actually ever delivered. So I'm guessing the actual designer would like it to continue to sell, because it's a pretty great game.
Yeah.
And I'm sure he'd like the expansion to get out to the world as well. So
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yep. This is a keep.
Oh yes, both of those are keeps.
I love this, the artwork and the production of this one. I think we got like the upgraded version, but it's a really good game.
But yeah, I think it's pretty solid either way. Then this next one.
So kind of old, kind of new this year because we've had Cartographers, the base game, for quite a few years now. You know.
Probably, yeah. We probably got it like the first year.
Yeah, it had
base
to be
game came out or
early,
so.
yeah.
Yeah, because we've had it for a while.
And then you kickstarted or backed the Heroes expansion and then the Collector's Edition. So that's what we have in front of us right now. So we've been playing Cartographers with a couple of the different expansions. It's just a really great map game where you use
polyomino shapes.
Yep, to make maps, and there's different goals and all that stuff. And this is actually, not to spoil anything, but the video has been out for like 6 months. Cartographers is actually my #1 game of all time as of last year when we did our top 50, and so this is for me just an easy, this is never leaving the collection game. No matter what Zach or Jesse might say about it. But they like it too, I think.
Yeah, and I've actually really liked the new maps and stuff. It actually makes me want to do some videos kind of looking at those maps. And then kind of just, I think this one came with heroes. So there's some more cards to kind of get rid of monsters or kind of block some areas from monsters going in there. So it brings a new interesting element to the game. So yeah, if you'd like to see some of those types of videos, definitely let me know in a comment below and we can make some of those. But yeah, and also speaking of the top 50, we'll probably be doing that within a few months again. I wonder if it's going to be, I wonder if it's still going to be your top game.
Oh, they'll have to take along to find out.
So yeah, that one's probably your top C game.
Yeah, no spoilers, but probably my top C and my top of this section.
Right.
So, okay, so the next one is Copenhagen, and I'm actually really sad because we've had this game for a while, and I just now got it to the table this year, and it's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, it was one that I had played, I think, once or twice when my brother and mother originally got it, because they had played it a few times. It's definitely... I think it would be in the same conversation as Ticket to Ride and Carcassonne and stuff. It's a lighter game, but it was one originally that I was really interested in because I tend to like polyomino games quite a bit, and kind of...
So does your wife.
There's like the windows on these, so it's kind of a little bit of not only that Tetris style, but also trying to line up those windows as well to score extra points, but... I'll say I think the reason it probably didn't get played was it was a little lighter than I would have liked.
Yes.
But I just wish it had just like one extra level to it. It feels like it's missing like just that little extra hook to kind of really get me to want to keep coming back to it.
Yeah.
But I think it is still a really solid game, and it's a really quick game. We actually, I think, had some videos on the channel of this one if you wanted to see a playthrough, and our mine and Jesse's, I think, thoughts on this one. Because, yeah, I think we played it in like 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, even I, before that fact, did not realize how quick of a game it is, so
Yeah.
it's definitely a quick one if you're looking for that.
It's a good one.
I think we will keep it, but I think if we ever had to start making cuts, I think that one would be kind of on the list for me.
And I think your mom likes this one, so if
Yeah.
nothing else, it would be one that maybe wouldn't sit here in our collection, but
Right.
could possibly sit somewhere else. I think we just have so many other polyomino games that we like better. So, not to say it's not a good game, it's just like you said, it is a little light. It's lighter than I would have thought, so.
But yeah, I think that's kind of been a mechanism or thing that they've used in a lot of games lately. It's that polyomino thing, so it's definitely got a lot of competition in that genre. And this next one actually is not ours. It's Colt Express. So this one is my brother and sister-in-law's game. And we hadn't played it, even though I think we'd had it. We kind of hold some of their games here on our shelf. I think it's kind of been here for a while. And it's always been one that I've been wanting to play, but it's one I think that plays better with more players. I
Yeah.
don't think it's really a two-player game, which is what
No.
we play most of our games at. So since we were doing the C games and Jesse and Abby were here, we figured we would give it a try at 4-player and see kind of how it played. And I actually really enjoyed it. So
Yeah.
it was way different than any other game that we have because it's got kind of a programming type game where you kind of know some information and you kind of don't know the other stuff. And then things could happen to you that throws off your entire plan, even if you think you're going to be getting loot or hitting someone or shooting at someone. You might just be punching the air or something like that. I think that it makes for funny moments.
Yeah.
Good moments.
I think this game is all in good fun. And I think that it probably does deserve all of the awards that it has printed at the bottom of the box.
Feel this yours? You think
yes,
it deserves
well,
that?
It's got like every award. Do you see that?
I see it's got a lot on there.
Yeah. So I mean, it's neat. Yeah, it's cute. So it's definitely as much fun as you put into it, kind of a game.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. Is you kind of have to be in the mood for, or kind of be, yeah. I think that adds a level to it when you're kind of pretending you're in that Western setting yourself.
Yeah, put on a
kind
little
of putting
Western
yourself in
music.
there. It definitely adds to the experience.
Yeah. So we won't be keeping or culling that one because it's not from our collection, but we will probably give it back to Zach and Carson at some point.
I'd probably keep it though if it wasn't ours.
Yes.
I think. Then this is Clip Cut Parks, which is a small game, as you can see here, much smaller than a lot of the boxes we've had so far. It is a, I thought they had it on there. For some reason I was thinking it was on the cover. But I think it's like cut and, I should say cut and paste, but I don't think that's right. It's something like that. Well, you don't write.
Assemble?
Sure, we'll go with cut and assemble. Blank verb and verb.
Verb and verb.
But this one, each player gets like a sheet of paper and actually a pair of scissors, which is the first game that I've seen of that. You have not played this one yet, but this is a new one. And you roll these dice, and then you're able to cut so many, however many spots forward. So like if you roll like a 3, you cut 3 in a row. You can't cut that same row twice in the same round because you're rolling 2 dice. I think you have 2 different cuts that you're making. And you're trying to make shapes to kind of fill out cards, kind of like in Silver and Gold, where you're marking in cards. This one's just a little bit different, where you're cutting out your own shapes. And then there's different symbols on them and different terrain types. So yeah, it's just a very unique game. It's very different than anything. It's one of those verb and verb. It's similar to those, but just the way you do it is different. And I personally was not a huge fan of this one.
Okay.
But I'm interested to see kind of when we get a chance to play this one what your thoughts are.
Yeah. Cool.
Then we go to, let's see, what do we got here? Century Golem Edition, Eastern Mountains. I believe I pulled the right one. I always forget which cover goes to which one. I believe this is the second one in the Century set for the Golem Edition. I think the Golem versus Spice Road. I think the trilogies play very similarly. It's just the components and stuff are different. But this one is a new one as well. I had not played until this year, but Pepper and I played this one as well. I don't know, I can't remember. We have the other 2. It will not be in this half of the list. We'll have to play them as well. I don't remember what your thoughts are on the original one. Probably not the biggest fan. This one is, so each of them play similarly, where you're turning gems, or in Spice Roads, you're turning cubes into different colored cubes, upgrading them, and then like turning them in for rewards and stuff. This one you're going around on kind of a map that's built out and doing the actions of certain tiles and building out little outposts or whatever on each of those spaces. And I really liked it. I haven't played them all enough and recently enough to know which one in this series is my favorite, but I think I've enjoyed all of them quite a bit, and this one could be my favorite or second favorite. Not entirely sure, but I think that one is keep for me. Because I just really like that, the way these work with comboing things, trying to, like in the original one, you've got cards that you convert that into that, and then you have another card that kind of uses what you just made to turn it into something else. I really like how those combos work. It's kind of engine building type feel. I really like that in games. I don't know how much you'll like it. What were your thoughts again on the first one?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a fine game. I didn't really. There was other games that I like better that do similar things with the card drafting and stuff. I mean, there's not really one that you can trade in like that, but I don't know. It was lacking something, and maybe the additions will help me feel like it's not lacking something anymore. I don't know. We'll see.
Could be. Then the next one is a very well-known game, Settlers of Catan, Settlers, whatever you want to call it. I think it's gone by quite a few different names, and this one is one we also, if you check out our videos, we also have a chippy review from Pepper and myself, kind of with our thoughts on this one. This is one that you probably already know about.
Yeah,
but,
I doubt we have to go into it.
My personal opinion, I think, is
the gateway game.
One that before it used to be like at one point it used to be my top.
Yep.
Game.
Every time we got together, you came over to my house, or anytime there was any type of event, Catan was pulled out.
Yeah, it was probably one of my top of all time at one point. But now it's kind of one where it's like, I do still like to get back to it maybe like once or twice a year. But that's probably about it. It's still a solid game, but it's probably not one of my top ones. I just don't know. It's kind of like, if you watched our A ones, it's going to be a spoiler here, but we got rid of Agricola. I feel like this one's kind of in that type of boat where it could maybe get rid of. I don't know if we would though, but it would kind of like I don't remember which one I said, but kind of like that. It'd probably be kind of one of them as a possibility to get cut. But I think for now, I'd keep it in the collection. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I feel like if nothing else, you have to keep it. Just to say you have it. Like, what board game collection is complete without Catan? Even if you don't play it. It's typically the game that gets people started and into the hobby. So, I would say that I've been playing this game probably for about 10 years now, and which is crazy to think about. But I would say my game has stayed pretty much the same, and I still lose. So... It's probably because my game stays the same, but it's very hard sometimes to even change your game when you get landlocked.
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
I need options, and Catan no longer allows that.
Then we're getting into another one of the games that we had played before.
Yes.
I'll let you talk about this one since I've been doing a lot of the talking on the last one since you haven't played them.
And you know that I love this game, so I'm not entirely sure what's on this whole list here that we're doing, but I would probably safely say that other than Cartographers, which is, the whatever, this is probably my favorite C game on this one. So it's just a really cool game. The minis and everything, like the value of your money for this game, I think is just so good, and I think that makes me love it just that much more. It's just really cool where you are building trade routes, but then you need certain cards, and there's movements of people controlling the color of cards you need, and kind of all this like set collection, but I don't know that it's not necessarily that, but it's just really unique, and I just really love it. Even if I walk away from the table getting my butt handed to me by my sister, like usual, I still am like, I don't think I'll ever want to get rid of this game. That's how good it is to me. I mean, it's not like heavy, it's not light, but there's something about it that just tickles my fancy. So
that's good to hear, because our play of this one did not go well for you, and I was hoping it would not taint your thoughts of the game, because I was a little worried. I'm like, oh no, this is one of the C games she actually really likes, and it did not go well.
Not happy, but step away from it, and it's still absolutely.
There's a lot of really cool stuff going on in this game, and it all really flows well and works well together. Sometimes I feel like when you get like it feels like it has like a lot going on in it, or a lot of different things, And sometimes when you do that, they don't really end up working together.
Mm-hmm.
It's just kind of cool mechanisms kind of all sort of working separately.
Yeah.
But this one, it seems like they all really work well together. And
it's a sweet spot when you can make them work together and then work together, you know, to get you bing, 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 all the things.
Mm-hmm.
It's like winning the slot at like a casino or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's so rewarding when you can.
It is.
When you can get it, and that's probably why I like the game so much. Is because if you play it right, you'll get rewards.
That's true. You get a lot of bonuses in this game. It makes it really fun. It feels like one of the. I didn't even think about that, but it feels like one of those roll and writes or something where you get, you know, you mark this off and then you get a bonus that marks this off, that marks this off. It's not quite like that, but you get a lot of bonuses in the game. It just always feels like you're getting good stuff.
Yeah.
Which I always like from games. So this is one of my top C games.
And I feel like
well.
it does a good job of if you aren't getting stuff, there are items that'll like the ability to trade cards for money or you know like. Mm-hmm. I feel like there are options in this game. So. But
I can see too like kind of what happened in our game. I think if you somehow get behind, it is very hard to. Yeah.
I was doing good, and then my cards just tanked, and I couldn't find my way out of it.
And we get to control.
Hey.
So this was one that you.
I actually won this, from the Dice Tower. Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys.
I'm sure they're watching.
I know. So it probably won't like be bad then to say that we're gonna probably call this game, which I feel kind of bad about. But maybe we'll do like a giveaway or something of it or whatever. But and maybe pass on, you know, pay it forward kind of a thing. But
it's true.
It's just really not. I don't know. I've only played it once, but like the whole time I was just like, this is just I'm not interested in this.
Yeah, it's unique. I think when I first saw this, I was like, that looks really, really interesting. When they first, I must have seen it on Instagram or something, they posted pictures of this, and I was like, that looks really interesting. But then, when I learned about it, it wasn't actually one that I was as interested in, but I was like, once you won it, I was like, well, I'm definitely willing to play it, because I was still, interested in it, but it's... The cubes kind of don't stick together very well, so it kind of breaks apart really easy.
Well, and
I think that kind of it doesn't feel like you're making all that many interesting decisions.
No.
But I could still see it being kind of a really lighter family weight game. There's not too much going on there, but it could be fun. It's fun to see kind of how you after you build it out, kind of looking at it from each side to score the sides. It's kind of interesting to see how certain ones actually show up on each side.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's control. This is a very small one.
Coloretto.
Oh boy.
Move it here so you can see it a little better.
Now it's gonna get us out of focus.
Are we in focus? All right. So this is a game. What's the history on this one? Because all of a sudden it just appeared at your mom's house, and then we got a copy. And how did this go?
I think Jesse was interested in it. I had heard of it, and it sounded like an interesting card game. I don't know. There's something about card games that I still really like, because I think when I grew up, I played a lot of the. Not the. Strategic card games, but cribbage and Uno and those Phase 10 or whatever, those types of card games. So I think, just looking at finding good card games is always fun for me. And I think this was one Jesse had found and had kind of played with them, or played with my mom and dad quite a bit, and they really liked it, so I think she ended up getting us a copy as well. And it's just a really solid card game. I think it's a drafting one in a way.
Yeah.
Kind of push your lucky, because you're picking up a card and then you have, depending on the number of players, a certain amount of spots out on the table.
Yep.
And you'll pick which one of those you want to put it on, and eventually each person will have to take one of those sets of cards, and you're trying to do some set collection, and then score points. You're only trying to get like 3 of a certain color.
Yeah.
And anything else is kind of negative points, so it's kind of a unique little combination there. It's pretty quick.
Yep.
It's not too complex. It really makes a lot of sense.
I like the artwork on it. Otherwise, I don't know. It's fine.
I would think that would be one you'd like more.
See, and that's what I thought too, but it just really is not there for me. I don't know.
Interesting. I like it quite a bit.
Yes, I know. But it's a good travel game, so maybe on our next
It's a little
trip,
disappointing.
I'll have to play it some
Because
more.
I always try to hope that you like some of... Because I know sometimes you don't like to learn some of the bigger games and stuff. So if I can find a bigger combination of small games that you like that we can play in, 20 to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
It's always good. So I can mix it up a little bit more.
Well, can you blame me when you bring home games like Cuzco?
Wow. Well, this one was one of Jesse's, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, he can have it back.
Wow. So this is one you did end up playing.
I did. Yep. And
I don't remember when I played it first. I don't even remember if it was this year.
It had been
last year.
you and Jesse played it at one point along
Late
with
last
Caylus
year.
and then
Must have been last year. Late last year.
Yeah.
Um,
Did you only play it that one time? Okay.
I hadn't got a chance to come back to it, but I was hoping to have you learn Cuzco and Caylus because they're two games that I liked quite a bit.
Yeah.
Each.
I think this was Caylus is later, but between the two, I actually like Caylus better, and I thought you thought I would like. Did you think I'd like Cuzco better?
Probably.
Okay, but I actually liked Caylus better. I don't know. This game is neat. There's a lot of cool pieces inside of it. You basically have this map and you're building it out, and you want to build towers and using these terrain pieces, and I just think that it's not my speed at all. It's thinky. It can be thinky with you and Jesse, I would think. And it's area control, which I really don't like in games. So it just was I was on my guard trying to figure out how to retain what I had built, and you would come in and be like, I'm just going to slide that right here and take control of this. And I'm like, I really don't even know how this game scores, but I feel like it's a bad thing to let him have my tower. So then I'd have to find ways around it, and I just felt like I was on the defense the whole time. So
I feel like this one, compared to some other games like this, kind of allows for you to be able to mitigate some of those things a little more. Because I think, depending on how scoring worked, if it didn't work the way it did, where each person scores and then the next person can kind of score those same things and get the same amount of points, even if the other person controlled it during their turn.
Yeah.
I like how that works because, otherwise I don't think I would like it as much. That at least opens it up to give you a chance to, even if during their turn they ended the game and they're taking control of these things, it's not like all of a sudden, well, now I just lost control of all those big points. No, you still get your turn to potentially fight to get those back and then score. And then if you're playing with more players, they would all get to do that same thing, which I find really unique in the game. I really like how that works. I don't know that I've seen that type of scoring in a game before. And I think this one has one of the best before and after table presence looks, because you're building not only out, but you're building up, so it's different level of terrain, which looks really, really nice on the board.
It really does. The components are really good in this game, I think. But
yeah, I would agree. So if you're looking for kind of an abstract game, this one's one to check out. I don't know if this was the next one or not. We're going The Crew, The Quest for Planet 9. This was one that we both played before this year, but we got back to. We hadn't played it in a while.
Yeah.
I think, but it's a cooperative trick-taking game, and I think one of the reasons we didn't get back to it for a while is it's mainly
it's better at more players.
Better at more than two, for sure. At least three. I'm trying to think. When we played it at 5, right? And I don't think did we play it at 5 before that? I don't think we did.
I know we played 4 for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was just 4.
It seemed to me like 5 made it almost more difficult because...
well, I mean...
It
bless
felt like
my brother's heart. I think he made it difficult.
but it didn't feel like we had as many tricks because the cards were split up more because you play with all the cards,
Yeah.
So you had less tricks to win.
Oh, I suppose.
So I think it almost made it more difficult with more players, but I mean that's a one session thing, so it's I can't really say like oh for sure confidently.
Yeah.
But I think it's one that I really liked. I originally did not like trick taking until I played Fox in the Forest, and that one to me is still the top trick taking game. But the crew is pretty good. It's a pretty good game.
Yeah.
And I think it works pretty well for what it does. And there's a newer version now that I think changes up or kind of uses like some of the better things from the crew, or I don't remember exactly what the changes are, but I know Tom pretty much will only play that one now. And I know the crew was like his top game, or one of his top games, so it must be, I think it changed kind of a few things about it that made it even better. Kind of just took from the best types of missions from this one. So, I don't know. I'd like to try that out maybe at some point, but...
I like that. I like the trick taking in this game. I think it's a struggle for me a little bit sometimes because it is cooperative and it can be frustrating when people take cards that you, and knowing the cards you have in your hand that you don't think would be good for them to take, or But overall, I think it's a good co-op. Well, I don't know. It's co-op, right? You can call it co-op. It's one I don't mind playing. So.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. So the other co-op game that you like is the Fox in the Forest Duet. Yep. Do you only like cooperative trick-taking games?
Is there... I felt like there was another co-op game recently, though, that I liked. Oh, Sherlock.
Oh, yes.
Okay. That's
I was thinking
that's
that too.
way different.
That's more like a exit or escape room type game, so a little bit different.
Well, keeping with the space theme, we have Circadians of the First Light. Or Circadians
First Light,
I can't get this title right. It's so weird. Is it like based on a book or?
I don't think. I think it's just a new world that they created.
Got you. It's crazy.
But yeah, this one is a dice placement game. Yeah. It definitely has an interesting look to it.
I'll say.
It was, it's got a very spacey alien look. It's almost an uncomfortable feeling with some of the aliens, but I think I've come to like it a little bit more as we've played it more and more.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very thinky dice placement game where you kind of choose all kind of. I was gonna say blind. It's not. You're not choosing blindly, but it's hidden as to what.
Yes, so you might not. So you might pick a dice and intend it for an action, but if you are the first player, or if you choose that action before me, well, now my die and the number on it might not work for the action.
You have to use it for something else.
Yep. So then you have to like reroute quick. So I actually like this game. I would say it's probably one of my top C games. I think though we've only played it at 2 players, right? And I would say that I'm really nervous to go any higher than that because I feel like there's a lot of availability in a 2-player game, and a 3-player game, I don't know what that would look like. I feel like that would really crunch what you could do, and I feel like that would take away what I like about the game, which is availability of options.
Yeah, and I can't remember exactly because I know some of those boards flip for different player counts, but I don't remember which actions would allow you to have maybe more spaces or the same amount. Yeah. So I know some of them, I think, do say like 1 to 3 or whatever it is. But I know you would get a few more spaces, but I don't remember which ones in particular. But yeah, it's already a pretty tight feeling game. It seems like you're very limited in what you can all do. Yep. But I really love this one. They are, I think, reprinting it. It's kind of disappointing because, like I said, I've come around on it, this artwork, and now it's kind of changed a little bit. I think it's still pretty similar, but there's just been some changes, and then they're making, I think, an expansion for it. But then I don't remember all the stuff around it, so we'll have to see kind of what the expansion will add. Because it would be interesting to potentially add something to this game, but otherwise it already still right off the bat has a lot going on. So
It really does. I was surprised how much I really liked it after our first couple of plays.
yeah, and I
Considering everything that's going with this game, it's a lot.
and it's a Garfield game, which and it's not. I don't see it talked about quite as much as like the West Kingdom games, and then like Raiders of the North Sea, and kind of some of the new ones like Hadrian's Wall. So if you're into Garfield games and you haven't played that one before, definitely I highly recommend looking into it because
Or drop us a comment below if you have questions.
Right. Then we get to Caylus, 1303.
1303. Where's Caylus?
I don't know.
Me either.
It's right on this box. That's where it is.
I think it's in France.
Okay, we're gonna
look
just
it up.
boldly claim something like that.
Yeah.
But no, this was another newer one.
Yeah.
To us still, but
Brand new to me.
Like I said, or like you'd said, I think Jesse and I played both Caylus and Cuzco.
Yeah.
Kind of at around the same time, a little last year, 2021. Yeah, I was hoping to get you to play it just to see kind of what you thought of it, and because I had liked it quite a bit after the first play. It's a solid worker placement game that has kind of you're adding different actions you can do to a board. I always like when games do that, kind of like Lords of Waterdeep, where you're adding some additional spaces on the board throughout the game.
Yeah.
This one's a little bit different than that, but it has a similar type feel, only that's a bigger part of this game.
Yeah.
You're adding pretty much actions
You
the whole
have
game.
to.
Right.
Yeah.
But what were your final thoughts on it? You said you liked it more than Cusco, but that doesn't necessarily mean
Yeah. No,
you
I
loved
mean,
it or anything.
I wouldn't say that I loved it, but I wouldn't say that I'm unwilling to come back to the table for it. And I think that's kind of how I measure games, is whether or not I want to come back to the table for it. Because, and I guess this is one of those games to me where I think it's going to take me many, many plays to really understand this game. I mean, I think it's simple enough, but to be efficient at this game, I think requires something more. And I think you were nice to me in the first game. I think you let me get away with some stuff, or at least help me along a little bit, because there is some player interaction that can occur. And so I think you were nice and generous to me. And so if I'm going to continue to like this game, I think it's just going to require me to learn more in depth about this game, especially to play it with you and Jesse. I'm going to have to be better.
Yeah, and I think that would be the only thing with Caylus and Cuzco, or both of them can kind of have some of that. Like you said, you still can steal like the spaces away in Cuzco. And this one, you can. So there's I forget what it's called. What's the guy on the horse called?
Oh, the provost?
Yes. So the provost, you can potentially move them. And like I said, you're adding actions on like this roadway that you're going along. And if you move him past, or any actions that are beyond where he is standing at the end, don't activate. So you could potentially, with a couple of the actions, you could move him back in order to cut off maybe someone's action that they're trying to do by spending your different meeples. So it does cost you something to do it, but it could really mess up a person depending on if they really wanted or needed to take that action for something. But yeah, I really think it's a solid game. I haven't played the original Caylus, but I would think if it's anything like this,
is just better. Right?
Yeah, I think it's probably. I think it's just updated a few things and made it a little bit better. So I'm surprised. This looks almost like Andrew Bosley type art, but I don't think it is.
I don't know.
But
I don't see it anywhere.
yeah, we are keeping that game. And I believe the last but not least, I'll just do both of these together since they're kind of one and the same. These were sent to us by White Goblin Games.
Yes. Thank you so much, White Goblin Games.
Yes, so Claim and Claim 2. They both play very similar. They're trick-taking games again. And in this one, the thing that makes it a little bit different is the original round, you're trick-taking to try to win the cards that you will be using in the second half of the game, which is when you're actually trying to win the tricks, to just actually take the cards, and then you're getting 5 different sets of different, in this case, like monsters or different classes or factions.
Lots of
and whoever gets
fantasy
3 out of 5, or majority of 3 out of 5 of them, ends up winning the game. So it's really unique. It feels different, a little bit different than some of the other trick-taking games. Like I said, whenever I play a trick-taking game now, I compare it to the Fox and the Forest, which maybe isn't 100% fair, because that is like one of my top favorite, not only like favorite trick-taking game, but one of my top games of and whatever. But I would say in that one, it kind of stops you a little bit sometimes from wanting to win a bunch of tricks in a row. But I don't know that there's too much in this one that stops you from that, and if you can kind of get ahead, sometimes there's not really a great way to recapture and start winning tricks back, potentially.
It probably depends on the factions you're playing with.
Right, and I don't think we've probably played it quite enough yet to really know for sure if that's the case.
Yeah.
But that'd be the only thing I could potentially see, but otherwise it's a fun little trick-taking game, and different, kind of like in the Fox and the Forest, all the different factions kind of do slightly different things. And then with these two, and I think there's also probably some other expansions they have there, you can kind of mix and match how you want to. So you can change up the game from game to game and kind of see how the different ones work together or don't.
Yeah. And I would say that I really, really like these. We've only played it a couple of times, but like if we are going to go somewhere, like on a plane, or if we're taking a trip, like I'm like, let's pack these because I want to learn them more. I want to play them more because I really enjoy the trick taking on these games. Not that I don't enjoy Fox and the Forest, but I feel like I've just played it so much and you just win it so much that it's hard. And so I think it'd be fun to get some new trick taking games out there. And I think just the variability with these ones, I think brings it kind of to change it up. I mean, you always do have to use two factions together between a set of 4 kind of a thing, but the rest are interchangeable, so I really like them.
This kind of like the other one is also a 2-player only, kind of like Fox and the Forest.
Well, you can do the 3 or 4 player variant, but is that only if you have both of them?
Huh? I don't remember off the top of my head. We haven't done that, and I'm guessing it plays slightly differently.
Yeah,
not really
there's
the same
variant. So.
But yeah, I think it's mostly for 2-player.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, so I believe we didn't really say it, but I think we're keeping like all those other games.
Oh, yeah,
I don't think there was anything really in there that we were getting rid of. And for me anyway, I don't really think any of those other ones are really like
Close.
On the edge.
Yeah.
C has we have a lot of solid C games. I don't know that many of them are like top 10 like contenders for me of all time, but there's still a lot of solid ones. I think they'd make up kind of my middle ground of games.
Yeah.
A lot of them that I'd definitely be willing to play if anyone is like, oh, I want to play Cuzco or Caylus or whichever Colt Express. I'd be definitely up for playing most of my C games. So yeah.
Yeah, so that's about, how many was that?
I think that was 17. So I think we're going to have at least another 17, if not more, in the second half of this.
So thanks for sticking around if you made it this far.
Right. Yeah, definitely like the video if you liked it. Otherwise, we appreciate you staying this long if you didn't. But yeah, were any of these C games kind of your favorite C game? What's your favorite C game? If you want to see the second half of our C games, definitely subscribe so you'll be notified when that pops up.
Don't miss that, baby.
Right. You're going to want to see the second half of C games. Because it's
Non-stop
about to
thrill
really
ride.
get good. But no, otherwise we hope to see you on the next one. And as always, don't forget to
Keep on nibbling.
on our content.